Sometimes I listen to your videos. You know what I mean? Like I will.
You just go for a run, put me on.
Yeah, sometimes.
Everything in life, I think, really comes down to luck and trying to manipulate the probabilities so that you're not ever like guaranteed a success. That's never gonna happen, but you're just trying to massage that probability curve so that it gets more and more likely over a long enough period of time that you're gonna find success.
Now, this guy would have you believe that he's got nothing to sell you, and that if you take his advice, you too could build a multi-million-dollar business. But after having watched literally hundreds of hours worth of Alex Hormozi content over the past 2 years, I've only ever heard him admit one time in a single interview the real reason he's so successful. He got lucky. He got really freaking lucky. But here's the crazy part. Most of it was lucky by design. So how do I know this? Because I too got lucky in all the same ways. And in this video, I'm gonna break down the exact steps you can take to replicate our results so that you can also get rich by getting lucky. Now, I know the average person doesn't want to admit that the majority of their success in life was the result of good luck, but if you want to achieve greatness in this life, you can't afford to think like the average person. And it all begins by understanding the 4 different types of luck, which were laid out by Dr. James Austin in his excellent book, Chase, Chance, and Creativity. So here's the truth of how Alex Hormozi really got rich. So the first type of luck is simply blind luck. This is the completely random, out of the blue luck that can't be controlled or even manipulated. Hormozi talks about this in the context of his own life as the good luck he experienced being born with good genetics and raised in an affluent subsection of America by a father who happened to be a doctor. For myself, it's pretty much the same story. I was born with all my limbs, my mental faculties. I was in an upper middle class family that afforded me the opportunity to get a really good education. Now listen, you can't really do anything to influence this type of luck. It's either gonna happen or it's not. But the truth is, regardless of where you were born or how you were raised, the fact that you're watching this video right now means you have won the universal lottery. Seriously, the odds of being born a human are 400 trillion to 1. Just being born a human is remarkably lucky, bordering on a miracle, in fact. Not even to mention the fact that you have access right now to a computer and the internet. It truly staggers the mind to think about just how lucky you and I are to be alive at this very moment. But listen, because there's not much we can do to improve our blind luck, let's just move on to the second form, which just happens to be my favorite. It's hustle luck. So this form of luck is born from moving through the world in a cyclone of energy. You kick up dust and you just kind of see what sticks. Simply put, you're just out there doing a bunch of stuff. And I like to imagine a mad scientist pouring all sorts of chemicals into a pot and stirring it like a madman to see what just pops out of the smoke. Motion and action are the keys to success here. But here's perhaps the most interesting thing about hustle luck. That motion or action doesn't even really need to be intelligent or intentional to put you on the path of incredible good fortune. All we're really trying to do here is stack the deck more and more in our favor, just trying to eke out a few percentage points on the probability curve of success. In Hormozi's case, it's so easy to see how pivotal a role hustle luck has played over the course of his career. One of my favorite stories he shares about how he quit his high status job and called up some guy running a chain of gyms out in California or something. That guy offered him a job, and Alex, who had no plan of moving out to California just a couple minutes before, said, "I'll be there tomorrow." Now, I might be getting the details of this story wrong, but the fact remains, he drove across the country on short notice and with no guarantee of success, all for the sliver of possibility that he might be able to learn from this gym guru guy. It's hard to see how that type of action could possibly be part of somebody's master strategic plan for getting rich. And yet I bet Alex would attribute a massive amount of his future success to the leap he took in that moment. And the reason I know this is because I had a similarly impactful hustle luck story, which started when I was living in the back of a van with $80,000 of debt, and a friend came to me with the suggestion that we start a business. Sure, I can look back all these years later and I can connect the dots to see how that one decision and all that hustling we did over the next 2 years led to where I am now, but there was no way of seeing that at the time. It was just pure and simple hustle luck. Now, in the beginning of your journey, hustle luck is really the only type of luck you can meaningfully exploit. So I encourage you just to get out there and start taking action, because as you do so, you will increasingly set yourself up to capitalize on our third form of luck, which is preparation luck. Now, if you're not careful, you could easily mistake this with blind luck. And sure, they're similar, but with some important caveats. See, preparation luck stems from your ability to recognize and capitalize on an opportunity. The thing that makes preparation luck so tricky is that it typically occurs within a very narrow window of opportunity, which means your ability to recognize that opportunity is everything. And this is the type of luck that Louis Pasteur had in mind when he said, chance favors the prepared mind. Now, for Alex, you might look at him and see how he's absolutely blown up on social media over the past year, gaining millions of followers in the process, and think, boy, he sure got lucky. And you'd absolutely be right. But it's important to realize that his luck was the result of years of preparation. First, he built up deep domain expertise in business by actually building multiple successful businesses. Then he developed the ability to effectively communicate the lessons he's acquired over the years by releasing multiple podcasts every single week for over 4 years. By combining his skill of communication with his business expertise, he was in a position to capitalize on practically free distribution afforded by platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, for myself, the journey is quite similar, as I also combined a valuable communication skill with a unique domain expertise. See, in a past life, I thought I was going to be the next Stephen King, and I wrote 12 science fiction and fantasy novels. Those did all right, all told, but as you might notice, I am no Stephen King. What I am, though, is an above average writer. And when you combine that skill with a deep domain expertise in real estate, well, I was able to capitalize on the fact that there was no truly well-written books in the world of commercial real estate investing just a few years ago. As a result, my book, Passive Investing Made Simple, has sat on the top 10 of commercial real estate on Amazon for the past 2.5 years, which has generated roughly $3 million of personal income for me. Now, in both of these cases, our luck is the result of years of hard work and preparation finally meeting an opportunity. Now, to optimize for preparation luck, you're gonna need to develop 2 traits in particular, but I'll talk about what those are in just a second. First, let's break down our 4th type of luck, which is also the most commonly misunderstood form of luck. It is unique character luck. And this one is really hard to notice because it typically just looks like the simple consequence of a logical series of events, which gives the impression that, but of course, it could never have happened otherwise. Benjamin Disraeli said it best. He said, "We make our fortunes and then call them fate." Another word for this type of luck might be destiny. Now, destiny is a powerful word that conjures images of inevitability. And that seems just about as far from luck as one can possibly get, right? Well, yes and no. See, the real problem with luck is that our squishy human brains didn't evolve to accurately calculate probabilities. In particular, there's one miscalculation that we humans almost universally make at a subconscious level. That is, just because an event did occur, we tend to think it was therefore more likely to occur than the alternatives. And this happens because our brains are dot connecting machines. In hindsight, we can literally connect any 2 dots we'd like to create a nice cohesive narrative, even though those dots in reality had nothing to do with one another. Our brains just love cohesive narratives, reality be damned. Okay, so let's bring this back around to unique character luck, because in my experience, this is the hardest one to really understand. Simply put, unique character luck is the result of all the weird hobbies, eccentric worldviews, strange opinions, and random skills that make you a unique, irreplaceable butterfly. Now, speaking of butterflies, this is a good place to introduce the butterfly effect, aka chaos theory. This is the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in New York instigates a series of cause and effects that ultimately result in a tsunami in Japan. Okay, so obviously that doesn't really happen, but the theory is important for our purposes because the universe is an interconnected matrix of nodes all influencing one another in an infinite number of cascading consequences. So here's what that means for unique character luck. An event could occur on the other side of the globe which triggers a series of interactions that leads deterministically back to you as a result of your uniqueness in the world. So let's simplify that with a story. Let's say some guy is out scuba diving while on vacation off the coast of Thailand when he discovers a sunken ship. He asks the locals and learns that this is a fabled lost ship which sunk hundreds of years ago, loaded up with treasure. But they also tell him that every single person who's attempted to recover the treasure has died in the process. Undeterred, our intrepid adventurer turns to the Google machine to find the best deep sea diver in the world. And lo and behold, who does he find? Well, he finds you and your YouTube channel of 3 million subscribers that's all about the incredible deep sea dives that you personally perform. Okay, just, for the sake of this story, you are a deep sea diver enthusiast with a mega YouTube channel. Now, this guy's blind luck suddenly becomes your unique character luck. And on the surface, it looks like you've just benefited from blind luck. but that would miss the broader context, which is that your unique skills have increased something called your surface area of luck. Simply put, the amount of serendipity that will occur in your life is directly proportional to the degree to which you do something you're passionate about, combined with the total number of people to whom this is effectively communicated. So, to increase our surface area of luck, we can either increase how much we do the thing, or we can increase how many people we're telling about the thing. Then again, you could do both and increase your chances of just getting super lucky. Now, what are the chances you, our YouTube scuba enthusiast, is actually the best deep sea diver in the world? It doesn't really matter, because Scuba Boy found you because not only were you passionate about your craft, but you'd been making your passions known to the world, which means his luck is now your luck. Now let's take this back to our boy Alex, whose newest endeavor, acquisition.com, combined with his massive social media presence, has created an absolutely obscene amount of potential unique character luck. Hundreds of businesses are coming to him and pitching him on why he should take a piece of their company to help them scale. His success is ultimately determined by his ability to select the companies that he believes he can actually help grow through the application of his unique skills, his abilities, and his resources. And for myself, it's a similar story. We scaled our real estate portfolio to over $80 million in 3 years because we have one of the biggest multifamily investing podcasts in the world, combined with the fact that we've been buying and operating real estate for the better part of a decade. Now, incredible buying opportunities simply come to us as a result of the fact that we're known for what we do. All right, so now that we understand the 4 flavors of luck, let's get tactical and break down how exactly we can increase our likelihood of getting Lady Luck to smile kindly on us. Here's my 3-step process for becoming a luck magnet. First, we need to optimize for the maximum number of swings at bat. Remember, hustle luck is the result of just doing more, and your ability to do more is dependent on 2 things: duration and iteration. Duration is how long you do the thing, and iteration is how many times you do the thing. So one of the most important variables to consider here is speed. If you can increase the speed with which you do things, you can vastly improve the number of iterations you can complete. This concept is actually so damn important that we did a video on it called "This is Slowly Ruining Your Financial Future." I'll drop a link in the description. Go check it out right after you finish this video. All right, so the second step in becoming a luck magnet is to supercharge your creativity. And no, I'm not talking about artistic creativity like the ability to paint, draw, sing, or write. See, I define creativity as the ability to connect 2 or more pieces of unrelated information in new and useful ways. Incredibly creative people are positioned beautifully to be the fortunate recipient of preparation luck because they see opportunities that others completely miss. Okay, so to max out your creativity, there's 2 things you're gonna wanna think about. First, we've got to fill our information tank so that we have enough data points floating around in our minds to potentially be connected. And we do this by getting curious about the world around us, by consuming information, whether that's in the form of reading a book, watching a YouTube video, or listening to a podcast. Then we have to hone our creativity muscle by actually using that information we've collected. And you can do that in all sorts of ways. But the key here really lies in the act of creation, which is the root word of creativity. Go make something with what you're learning. Start a blog, start a podcast, or a YouTube channel, and just start playing with all the information you're collecting. You don't want to do it in public? Start a journal. As a good rule of thumb for life, just remember to consume less and create more. All right. Now, our third step in becoming a luck magnet is to just be your weird self. Listen, you can't benefit from unique character luck if you're just like everybody else. And the irony here is that most of us spent the first 20 years of our lives, if not more, just trying to fit in. We're told this is the road to success, when in reality, it's really just the road to commoditization. To cultivate unique character luck, you've got to develop your own unique thoughts and perspectives and skills and hobbies. And let's put this another way. You've got to become uniquely you. I mean, just think about how we started talking about Alex Hormozi at the beginning of this video. What did I point out about him? I said, he's the $100 million muscle-bound man who wears no strips, wife beaters, and has calves the size of cantaloupes. Those are all unique traits that conjure a very specific image of a singular person born from his weirdness. So go on, let your freak flag fly, because that is the key to getting rich by getting lucky.